Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. The first story is called Office Sleep Compliance. This story happened a year ago, and I'm still working at this company. My superiors, the team lead, manager and department head are all fantastic bosses. They will fight for their subordinates when it's right. Most of my immediate colleagues are great too, and we often help each other out. Some related points to this story. I have very severe sleep apnea. After a sleep study was done, I was told that I stopped breathing 69 times an hour. As a result, I tend to need more sleep than most normal people. If the following day is not a work day, I will go to bed at 10 PM or 11 PM and wake up the next day at 3 PM. I have 7 different alarms, all of which I never use the snooze button, as I almost never hear them. Now my bosses are aware of this and very understanding. And they do not mind me coming in late to work, as I ultimately still get things done. Also, sometimes my work requires me to work at odd hours, in the 12 AM to 5 AM kind of hours. We handle fiber broadband infrastructure. My usual work hours are from 9:30 to 19, versus my colleagues' usual 8:30 to 18, as I had to work with clients and customers who have 9:30 to 19 work times. Enough background, onto the story. Our CEO was cracking down on punctuality issues. There were some people who were abusing this, so I can't blame him. And HR was going hard on everyone. This lady, who was handling disciplinary issues, we'll call her Karen, knows that I'm typically late to work almost every day and starts targeting me. My manager explains my situation to her. He tells her that an exception was granted to me. She remarks that it is entirely unacceptable and that no employee should be given special privileges. She called me to a joint meeting between her, me, my team lead and manager. She starts by insinuations that I'm just lazy and lying about my situation with sleep apnea, or that I just snooze my alarms and sleep late. Then she states that if I'm late one more time, I will receive a warning letter. There was also the unspoken threat that I will lose my bonus for the year that was coming in 2 months, as it is considered a disciplinary action. She then sarcastically adds, "If you can't get up in the morning, sleep in the office." I was angry for a couple of seconds, but I was taught better. A plan began to form. Malicious compliance it is. Once work ends, I head home, as usual, have dinner, relax and stuff. However, this time I head back to the office. I reached it at 10:30 PM or so, with all of my alarms. As per the office safety procedure, if there's an employee in the office, the light needs to be on, at least in the employee's immediate area. So on the lights go. I set the alarms up to start ringing from 6:30 AM as usual, and to ring every 5 minutes. I should also mention that my desk is right in the middle of the office, just outside human resources closed area. Also, any person with sleep apnea knows snoring is an immense issue. My snoring is so loud that it sounded like Thor was fighting. I went to sleep in my chair. Morning comes and people start coming in. It's 8:30 AM, my 7 alarms ringing, my snoring bringing the thunder. Did I mention that I'm seated right outside HR and in the middle of the office? Karen, unable to take the noise, tries to get my colleagues to wake me up. They simply shrugged and said it wasn't part of their job scope or contract. My team lead and manager both refused to wake me up, as he starts work at 9:30 AM. Karen tries to wake me up, but a choking and breathing incident happens and it looked and sounded like I was on my deathbed. It scared her to tears. I ended up waking on my own at 10:30 AM. Karen then complains to my department head, which I clarified that this was requested by Karen, to which both my team lead and manager corroborates. My department head deems that I didn't break any rules, and in fact did do what she said to do, and thus had no ground for disciplinary action. He then gives me 2 days paid off to rest, as I was in no condition to handle clients. I found out later that the rest of HR was never agreeable putting me on the late list in the first place. But they did not or could not intervene, as they were not in charge of disciplinary issues. No one has really hounded me about punctuality again, outside of the occasional, "Hey, try to be on time next time." And just to assure everyone, I do try my best to. next story is called Christmas Compliance Helps in March. Back in November, I went to Costco to get some Christmas shopping done. My dad has never been to a Costco before. His view of Costco is that you rent a box truck, back it up to the dock, and they use a forklift to put skids of bulk groceries in the truck. So when I said to my dad, "Hey, I'm going to run to Costco to get some Christmas shopping done," he responds with, "Great, your mother and I are getting a lifetime supply of toilet paper then." I just laughed and walked out the door. So while I'm in the store, I walk by the toilet paper and I'm just staring at it. I start thinking, you know what? Yeah, you are getting a crap load of toilet paper. I proceeded to buy 4 packs of 30 of toilet paper and took them to my girlfriend's house to be individually wrapped over the course of the next month. He did not find it as funny as I did come Christmas morning. But now we have like 40 some rolls left and haven't had to worry about running out. Are the supplies down where you live? Comment down below. The third story is called Immediately. I work at a rather large company. My official position is as a software developer. But since I've got quite a bit of experience and a somewhat non-standard skill set for this position, I often get asked to do other things than just write code. I absolutely don't have a problem with that and even quite enjoy doing other things from time to time to break the monotony. Or rather, I did. Till one of the higher managers noticed my particular skill set. He started asking me to help out on other projects that were short on people. At first, I didn't really mind. But eventually, it evolved into a situation where I would be reassigned to a different project every single week. A project change for me would mean downloading all of the code, setting up the whole build and development environment, getting familiar with the project, and then finally being able to do some work. This would usually take at least a day. I've tried talking to many different managers to try and do something about this, because it was starting to affect my performance reviews to no avail. Some of them would tell me they will look into it, others wouldn't even bother to reply to my emails. And that's where I got really fed up. Now, our project teams usually sit together. We have multiple large open space offices and a few smaller ones with just a few people. I'm one of the lucky ones who get to sit in one of the small ones. And I usually wouldn't physically move for these team changes, because then I would be moving every single week. On a Monday morning, as usual, I got an email basically saying this: "You're needed on project XYZ. Immediately, go over there to help as soon as you can." The "immediately" and "go over there" parts are where they made a fatal mistake. I've always been one not to take nothing from anyone, and malicious compliance is my default. So I immediately took the hint and did exactly what I've been asked to do. I stopped working on my current project immediately. This will be very relevant later. And even though I usually wouldn't have done this, I've decided to physically move to the team I've been reassigned to. So for the rest of the day, I've made a big spectacle of trying to move my entire workspace closer to that new project team. Making sure to only carry one thing at a time as not to injure myself. It was an office on a different floor and the other side of the building. The next morning I just started working on the new project like nothing happened. Well, fast forward 3 weeks. The project I've been taking off has had huge delays and missed multiple client deadlines because of that thing I haven't been allowed to finish. In this industry, missing a client deadline means huge fines from both the client and sometimes also relevant government regulators. Managers started to reply to my emails and try to be much more careful with how they word their requests. I haven't been asked to switch projects for 3 weeks now. And I'm not worried about getting fired. I've been looking for something new for quite a while now. The last story is called Working on Break. I work for a large company that can't seem to keep employees for some reason. Perhaps because breaks don't exist. We are not allowed to sit at any time. This is emphasized by the fact that the only 2 chairs in our store are in the back room. One is a step ladder and the other is a folding chair kindly provided by a past employee. We are expected to stand waiting in the store for customers and maybe clean here and there. Fine. We are also severely understaffed. Shift overlap is between a few minutes to an hour. but you are not allowed to take a break within 1 hour of clocking in or out. And you can't combine breaks. So what I would do is clock out for my 30 and take my 15 separate with the store closed and leave a sign. But they recently implemented a new strict rule that you are unable to close the store for any reason besides using the bathroom, buying food and bringing it back to work during your clocked 30. When you take a break, you have to leave the store open and watch the cameras, immediately exiting to help people who come in. Not sure about anyone else, but that doesn't sound like a break to me. Now, instead of working my shifts the way I wanted and closing for a total of an hour spread out, I spend 3/4 of the day or more sitting in the back room working, coming out for customers. I also don't clock out for my 30, since I'm technically still on the clock watching the cameras. If I have to work on break, then I break when I work. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.